Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at an exercise with the pen tool, and we're going to trace some shapes. So here we are in Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to place a document, and it's a set of wine goblets. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, click and drag so that they're constrained. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag them up a little bit more. And we're going to trace these wine goblets. So I'm going to come over, double click on the layer. I'm going to lock it and dim it to 50%. Then I'm going to make a new layer on top, grab my pen tool, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw 1/2 of each of the shapes, and then I'll flip it and join it to itself. And we're going to look at working with nodes and joining nodes. So I'm going to start at the top, click, go straight over and click. Now I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to come down about so far, click and drag, come down about so far, click and drag, come down a little bit more, click and drag. Now I go straight, click, there's a little bump there, click and drag, a little bump there, click and drag, click again at the bottom, and then come out and click one more time. Now, I'm going to hit the escape key, and right now I don't want to fill. I'm going to turn the fill off for the shape. I'll make the shape thicker so you can see the shape. Grab with the selection tool, and I'll make the thickness 2 pixels. So I've drawn 1/2 of that wine goblet. Now I can fix this up a little bit more. Let me zoom in a little bit. And I could grab the direct selection tool, click on that node right there, and just drag it a little bit like so. And then I'll edge that one in with my arrow key. And that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to select this 1/2 of the wine goblet. I'm going to flip it and join it to itself. So I'm going to go to Object, Transform, and I'm going to use Reflect. And in this case, I'm going to click the preview button, and you see that it's reflected the shape. Now, if I just wanted to reflect the original shape, I would leave it like this. But in this case, what I want to do is I want to copy it. So I'm going to click Copy, and it's copied the shape. Now, the new shape that I've created is still selected. The shape underneath is not. So I'm just going to hold on the Shift key and tap the right arrow key on my keyboard, and I want to tap the arrow key over until I can see both shapes sitting next to each other like so. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I want to join these 2 nodes. Now there's a number of methods for doing this. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to do it. One is to grab the pen tool, find the end there and click, and then find the end on the other side and click, and that will join them. That's perfectly fine with its escape key. Another way is to grab the direct selection tool and trap those 2 nodes. I have to make sure I trap the 2 end nodes, and then I can go up to Object, go down to Path, and choose the command Join, Control J on the keyboard. If I can do it with the keyboard as well, trap select those 2 nodes, Control J will join. Now, I have to make sure that it's the last node on the very end. If it's anything else, let's say that this went off like this, and I try to join these 2 nodes. That will not work. It will not allow me to join the 2 nodes. And you'll see it says, to join, you must select 2 end points of the same or 2 different paths. So I have to make sure that it is, I'm going to undo that, the last 2 nodes, Control J, join. Then I will zoom out, Control 0, and I will zoom back in, Control plus, space bar. Let's go back down, and we want to join the 2 nodes at the very bottom using any one of those methods that we just described. I'll trap select, Control J, and I've joined. Okay, and now I've created my glass, and I could fill it with a color if I wanted, and I can do all sorts of other things with it. And so that's my flip and join exercise. Let's do another one of the bottles. I'm going to come in and do this one. Once again, I'm grabbing my pen tool. I'm only drawing 1/2. Cool thing about anytime you're working in applications like Illustrator or 3D applications, and you're drawing a shape, if you're looking at it from the top or the bottom or from the side, you only have to draw one half and then flip it and join it to itself. It's actually easier to take it and flip it and join it to itself than it is to try and draw two halves symmetrically. Well, you'll never be able to do it. So you really pretty much have to do it this way. I'm going to click, come over, and click. I'll come down and find about where I need to drag, about right there. I'm going to click and drag, come down again, about right there, click and drag. And it takes a little practice to figure out how far you need to click, but you'll get it after a few attempts. And now I'm coming around, clicking and dragging down, click on the in, click and drag out, and then click one more time, click the escape key. I'm going to take the fill off, the shape is selected, go over, undo the fill, and I'm going to join the shapes. Now I could click on the shape, hold on the Alt key and drag, then go up to Object, Transform, and Reflect. That'll work just as well. And then arrow key it back over. And I want to see both ends so I can join them. And you'll see that probably could push all this part in a little bit more. I'm going to worry about that in a second. I'm going to zoom in on this area right here. I'm going to join those two nodes at the top, find a node on that end, find a node on that end. That makes that closed. We want a closed shape. It's easier to fill a closed shape. Now, the goblet got really wide here, so I'm going to grab the nodes on this one side with the direct selection tool. I'm going to trap these nodes over here and then arrow key them inwards. And then I need to arrow key these inwards as well so that it looks symmetrical. I've got a little bit of something going on here. There we go. And that's pretty good. Now, if I really wanted to spend more time on it, I would probably spend more time smoothing out these shapes, but I think you get the idea. And I'm just going to join at the bottom, click into that node there, click into that node and close. Okay. So now I can fill this shape with any color I want. And that's your flip and join exercise. And that is some ideas about how to draw with the pen tool. You click and draw in the direction that you want the edit to go. I'm going to stop here. We're going to come back with another pen exercise in just a sec.